And I asked my dad if I was mulatto in front of me. And my dad laughed and he was like, no, she's Italian, she's Irish. He's like, you're dark, but that's not why, whatever. I want to be as sincere and honest as possible. And I think that's being honest about what my experiences of that. And I've had weird experiences, but my experience was not growing up being told you're Black. A thing that I wish I had done differently, if I could look back and do something differently, is not be defensive about it. Hi, I'm Danielle Romero. Thank you so much for being with me here on my channel, where we talk about American identity and family stories. And Fridays, we do deep dives and we do genealogical videos and hidden history. But Sundays, I respond to your comments and your questions. So I had a couple videos already set up of responding to comments, but I didn't take screenshots because I wasn't sure if I wanted to share people's names or not. So this one, I do have the screenshots. I'm just gonna throw them up because it's faster than me typing out the questions. So I'm gonna throw them up there. Let me know what you prefer for the future. But I'm gonna jump over to the first question. Roots473 said, how do you feel about acceptance guilt? For example, there are those of us who would embrace you into the African American community and those who would not. Do you feel guilty about accepting the acceptance? I hope you don't, but I'm curious if you do. Okay, that is a really great question. Before I answer your question, I just want to follow up with another comment. I think it was on the same video, same thing. Sus Martinez said, deport this woman back to Africa. So, acceptance guilt. I don't have any guilt, but I definitely have concerns about identifying a way that I didn't grow up. And I know people will say, well, you need to be a certain phenotype to be accepted in a certain group, or you need to have this much DNA, or you needed to have grown up in this culture. And I want to actually read one more relevant comment that I got recently, and then I want to dive more into this. Helicopter Gunship said, based on your 5% African heritage, which actually it's more than that, and within the historic one-drop laws of America, please embrace your bloodline and true identity by referring to yourself as Black, Danny. And then somebody else responded, T. Brown said, the one-drop rule doesn't exist anymore. It is a thing of the past. Try calling most Latinos Black because a large amount have African ancestry and tell me what they say. That's true, they do. And so I thought this is an interesting discussion. It's one we have a lot on the channel, but I don't think it ever gets old because it's so relevant. This is such a relevant thing. So I want to get back to the original one about this idea of acceptance guilt, and I'll circle back around to that. A thing that has come to my mind that I have now had to wrestle with, because originally I thought, okay, I can definitely have ancestors that were very recently considered Black. My great-grandmother, based on our DNA test, she definitely would have been about half West African and half Native American Hispanic. Okay, but I didn't grow up with any of that knowledge. That was her choice. She believed she was protecting her family. But I've thought so much about this because my mom was really, really close to her grandma Lola, really, really close, and slept over there, spent a lot of time with her. Eventually, when she got older, drove her around because Graham didn't have a license. And so if Graham had felt that she could pass this information on, which she did not, would my mom have grown up seeing herself Black? I don't know. My mom's not dark. She doesn't look dark, but my grandmother and my great-grandmother certainly did, reflecting on someone's experiences and ancestry. And genes are weird. I really do think I favor my grandmother and my great-grandmother more than my mom even does. So there's that side of it. And I want to tell you a story about when I was about 8 or 9 years old, something that happened. So I was at my dad's office at work. He would usually pick me up from school for my dental appointments because they were near his office. After one of those dental appointments, I was hanging out in his office, and it was summer, and that's relevant. And a person came in. I don't remember who it was because I was just a kid hanging out. And the person saw me, and they knew that I was my dad's daughter. And I asked my dad if I was mulatto in front of me. And my dad laughed, and he was like, no, she's Italian, she's Irish. Because that was the story at the time. My dad said Southern Italian and my mom was Irish. And I remember being in the car on the way home asking my dad, like, what does that mean? I didn't want to ask because I could tell that it was weird. You, when you're a kid, like, adults are just kind of an enigma, but you can vibe that something is weird. And so I knew something was weird with this question and this guy. But I really wanted to know. And my dad was just like, well, that's someone that's half white, half black. It's not you. He's like, you're dark, but that's not why, whatever. And so I've had experiences like that my whole life. On one hand, it was a huge relief to me to find out, oh, I actually do have this black heritage. And I say black instead of African because, like, I know there's this community side to it, but I can trace ancestors to Africa through the Middle Passage, through the slave trade. So I do have that. I didn't grow up with that knowledge. And I don't know. It's not so much about guilt, but I think it's more about I want to be as sincere and honest as possible. And I think that's being honest about what my experience is about. And I've had weird experiences, but my experience was not growing up being told you're black. Now, if I had been told that growing up, I would have no problem standing in that space and being like, yeah, I might not look the way you expect, but this is who I am. This is my family. I'm super proud. But no one's ever said that to me in my family. And I think that's the thing that would have mattered to me, is having someone say, this is who we are, and that includes you. Unfortunately, based on my family story, that was not my experience. Okay, I want to jump to another comment. So, do you plan on learning Louisiana Creole? This is Taylor Alfaro, 3239. I'd also be interested in doing my ancestry test. So I hope that you will take your test. Louisiana Creole, this is another one. These comments were so related to each other. I'm glad that they came the same week. So I found out later that my great-grandma, her first language was Creole. That was her language. And it's crazy. Literally nothing was passed down. I am 99% sure she never used it with the kids at home in New York. And I didn't even really know what the accent sounded like until I went down to Louisiana. There's a sadness there for me that, again, wasn't given to me as a kid. That would have been really meaningful to me to have been given that. But I would definitely be open to it. But I know I would butcher the heck out of it. Next question was from Shenanigans McGee. How do you cope, and in parentheses, move on, when you have family members that aren't supportive or willing to accept the information you have found? Oh boy, okay. I am in a complicated situation like this after doing a DNA test. Some family members have stopped speaking to me because of bringing certain things to light. And then someone responded to her and said, I'm with you. Some folk have made up their mind and don't want to be confused by the facts. How to be the change we'd like to see in the world and spread the truth if our own people can't accept. Yeah, this is a real risk with doing not even just DNA, but doing the family work. How do you cope with it? How do you move on? Slowly. I have had family members be very angry with me. And I was very shocked by that because I didn't feel like I was doing anything that was dishonoring to my family. To me, the most honoring thing I could do is be curious and kind of want to carry the torch about the story and learn more and always ask questions with respect. And I always do things very respectfully, especially with the elders in their family, but some people are real mad at me. And it was shocking to me. And I don't really want to give advice to you because I don't know your exact situation, but I'll say for me, a thing that I wish I had done differently, if I could look back and do something differently, is not be defensive about it. I don't need to defend the truth. We don't need to defend the truth. It just is, right? And so it helped me to know that, to the best of my knowledge, I was preserving the truth and I was operating in that. And it sucks. To give you another example, it's more related to the DNA side. I think I shared this on another one of the AMAs, but we took DNA tests kind of just to reconnect, and turned out that my grandpa, my mom's dad, was not actually her biological dad. And I was the one who had all the information first. And it was very, very upsetting to me because what had happened is my mom took the DNA test. I did, my mom's mom took it, my grandmother. And some of my mom's siblings took the test. And so I thought I was just kind of collecting information. We're putting stuff together. And then when my mom's siblings, who she grew up with, when their tests started coming in, they were matching as half siblings to her and not matching as full, like aunts and uncles to me. And I remember the day that I got that information, I was actually traveling and it was in the car and the results came in and I saw that and I just immediately, it just clicked. I just knew and I thought, oh my gosh, like how am I going to tell my mom? How am I going to tell my mom? Do I tell my mom? And the worst part about that, the reason we had all taken these DNA tests is because her dad, my grandpa, had just passed away. And I thought, I really need to preserve his story. And so let's do this. And so her dad had just passed away. And then a couple weeks later, the tests come back and it's not her dad. But my mom told me something that has stuck with me is that is her dad. That is the man who raised her, who loved her and considered her his daughter. And the details are gritty on that situation. It was really difficult, but I, again, just feel, I ended up telling my mom that I do feel like the truth does set us free. How we deliver it to people matters too, and the timing and all of that. So I wish you luck. And if you want to talk more, please drop me a message. I'd love to talk with you. All right. This person said, Drew in Carolina said, do you like any Creole or Cajun cuisine or basically any Louisiana cuisine? If so, what's your favorite dish? Okay. Don't come after me, you guys. I am terrified of eating seafood. So I've never had gumbo, never had crawfish, never had any of that. I'm terrified. Let me tell you why I'm terrified. I actually have had seafood. When I was like 5 or 6, I used to be obsessed with like fish sticks. My mom would buy them. They looked like they were like breaded or something. And you put them in the toaster oven or whatever. And they came in a yellow box. And I don't remember the brand. It was like Captain somebody, whatever. Had this box. And I guess maybe we had a bad batch or something. I was so violently ill one day after that fish stick. I have never eaten seafood again. And I want to eat it because I know it's good for you and I want to be connected food-wise to the Creole culture. But I gotta tell you guys, I just live in fear of having to put any seafood in my mouth. That was like 30-something years ago. Okay. So if you can recommend Creole food that doesn't have seafood, because I just don't think I can deal with it yet. I don't know if I'll ever be healed from that. I don't know. Let me know what you think. This person, Rabbit with the Gun, said, one of the best channels I've come across. It gives my brain recovery from the scandals and politics and more. Thank you. I know that some of the stuff we talk about is deep and it's hard and it's not easy stuff, but my goal, my hope is that it's coming out into the world in love and this desire to bring people together and to talk about stuff that we kind of talk about on a superficial level, but we never really delve deep into it and get at the root cause for some of the issues we have. I gotta tell you, I am so over the overstimulation from this news cycle, this constant news cycle. There's always these scandals and the politics and more, and it's never gonna go away. But yeah, I feel you. I have my escapes through that. Trying to think what I watch to get away from it. It's like they don't even let you get away from it. You're like not allowed to. They're like, you have to think about this. Kuno Amlak said, do you have an available pin? No, I'm probably too old for you anyway. But it's very nice of you. I get really nervous being on camera still. I'm just not really comfortable on camera. I'm such an awkward person in real life. It's hard for me to sit here and then I have to edit and see my face. It's so weird. So thank you for that nice comment because it makes me feel like I'm not coming off as awkward as I think. So maybe you're awkward too. So if that's the case, you belong here. Okay, last question I'm going to do for today is Rauli386. How do you keep a positive attitude with the topics you speak about? It's the elephant in the room nobody wants to acknowledge. I think that kind of goes along with what have just been talking about in this episode. Is just the importance of telling the truth. And I remember when I first started to do this channel, I had to post my first or second video, and I started getting a lot of questions about my identity. People were really curious, well, how do you identify? I remember talking to my husband about it, and I was really stressed, and I was like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And he's like, well, you just say that. As long as you're telling the truth, you're okay. When you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. You don't have to keep up with a weird story that you're spinning. You're not going to get tripped up on stuff because you're just telling the truth. And so when I'm talking about these topics, I try to bring that same perspective of, we'll just tell the truth the best that we know it. And to me, having dialogue is positive. I just really believe in the power of dialogue. And having conversations, and that does help. But I'm telling you, you guys have helped me stay so positive, because even when we get bombarded by people on some of the videos in the comment section, there are so many of you who jump in there and are defending me and are just positive and just amazing. I'm so encouraged that there are so many good people out there. There really are. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much. It's been really good. If you have a question for me that you would like me to answer on here, I think I'm going to probably stick with the screenshots. So you may see a video or two where I typed out the answer instead of taking screenshots, because I don't know what order I'll post these, but I think I'll do screenshots from now on. So if you have a question or a comment or anything you want me to do in the video, please drop it below. I would love to connect with you and chat. Otherwise, this will be a Sunday video, so make sure that you are with me so that you'll get to see Friday's video, whatever that is on, and I'll see you in a couple days.